Ms. Alger?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Gordon?
Yes.
Mr. Hoover is absent.
Please pause for a minute of silence as we prepare for the meeting tonight. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Fox, do you have any agenda changes or additions?
I do. I have one this evening. We're going to, under action items, we're going to remove action item 7.02, personnel action B.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
A motion we approve the agenda.
Second. We have a motion by Ms. Alger and a second by Ms. Sullivan Smoot to approve the agenda.
Ms. Alger?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes. Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to certify that personnel matters were discussed in a closed meeting, section 2.23711A.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter to certify personnel matters discussed in closed session.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Alger?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith?
Yes.
Yes. We have one. Yes. I'm going to read a statement real quick. You can- Page County School Board welcomes citizen comment during regular meetings. School board members do not respond to public comment during a meeting. All comments should address a matter related to Page County Public Schools. The school board will not hear public comment that involves an individual student-related matter, the disclosure of which would violate applicable confidentiality requirements. The school board expects that each speaker will be courteous, modeling for our students how one can respectfully agree or disagree with others' views. Speakers will address their comments to the entire school board and not to one individual board member, nor to the superintendent, a staff member, or the audience. Speakers will have 3 minutes to present their comments from the podium.
My name's Dana Pfeiffer. I live in Shenandoah, Virginia. Dear members of the board, I come here tonight to present you the petition I'd first mentioned to y'all at the May 25th meeting in regards to the removal of Shenandoah Elementary School's SRO Officer Lama in support of hopes that we can get him back. Along with the petition, you will find some letters of support attached to this packet. I hope this will give you all a better understanding of the impact that he had on my Pacific child, along with other children in the building. I would have more signatures and their support, but there was staff that had mentioned to me that they were afraid to speak out in regards to they might lose their jobs or offend other staff members in the building. But there would be other letters in here if they were allowed. Their overall opinion should deserve a say. So I don't know if y'all send out a survey or anything to get school personnel's opinions on everything that happened that day. I find it unfair that only one side of the story was heard before the rush call, the removal that took place to him. This is someone that was a friend to all the children in the building. He brought smiles and he lended a hand throughout the entire building each day that he was there. I just ask y'all to please reconsider working with the sheriff's department and getting him back as the SRO at Shenandoah. He's, once y'all read some letters, you'll get a better understanding of why I'm in support of it. I thank y'all for your time, and I hope each of y'all have a good evening.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
With a motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot to approve the consent agenda.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bowers.
Yes.
Mr. Carter.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Yes. Ms. Jeffries, nutritional services update?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. I come to you to give you some updates about the Nutritional Services Department this evening. In the coming week, we will be submitting our 2023-24 application for the National School Lunch Program, School Breakfast Program. Along with that, I will be looking at our next school board meeting for approval of our adult meal prices. I am recommending that breakfast be set at $2.55 and lunch at $4.35. I've also provided you with the federally mandated minimum cost for those items. I also am sharing with you our new identified student percentage, along with some historical data. That identified student percentage is the number of students enrolled on April 1st that automatically qualified for free meals based off of households receiving SNAP, TANF, income-based Medicaid, or students deemed foster or temporary housing and homeless. Based off of our new number of 49.85% of an identified student percentage, that does let we are considered to have 79.76% of our students eligible for free or reduced price meals. With that number, you will see how important our summer food program is when we're looking at almost 80% of our students being considered eligible. We are the only division in the area who was both eligible and determined and decided to participate in a new rural non-congregate feeding this summer. And we are able to distribute 7 days worth of breakfast and lunch at one time to any child 18 and under. We are using our Meals on the Bus, our renovated bus, to do that, and we've expanded our stops from 20 stops last year up to 46 stops this year. And I wanted to publicly thank all previous and current businesses and property owners for allowing us to use those pieces of land to be able to do this distribution. This week is our third week of the program. We initially set a goal of reaching 300 students or 300 children. They, again, don't have to be Page County Public School students by the end of the summer. And I will tell you, as of today, this week alone, we served 468 children. So we've already far surpassed our goal of 300 children a week, and we have a new goal of reaching 600 children a week. However, there's no limit to that number of children. So I don't want anybody to think that we have a maximum. We can feed as many as come. So we want to encourage our families to take part in the program. I've also given you some sample pictures of the foods that we are providing each child with each week. And it's been a lot of work that we've worked with our suppliers to be able to get that food in. So we want to, again, publicly thank our suppliers, which are Merchants Grocery. We've been working with Walmart and Luray. We've also been getting some produce and fresh foods from John Henry General Store, 4P Foods, and Stony Run Greenhouse. And Stony Run Greenhouse, if you see the bag of lettuce on the back of the right picture, they are providing us with those fresh greens just like during the school year. And that falls into our last thing, which is our Farm to School, Farm to Summer program, was highlighted by the Virginia Department of Education. And we have a video that was just created and will be released in the coming weeks. The series was intended to encourage other school divisions to take part and other producers to reach out to school divisions And so our department, again, wants to thank you, the school board, for your support and working with us to allow us to continue to work with our local producers. We want to thank all of our workers in our department for their dedication to the program and our producers that have been working with us. And we look forward to sharing that video with you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. A lot of kids receiving meals.
I'd just like to make note that on the Channel 3 News this morning, page 1, here in Luray, the food that they don't have enough food because more people are coming in now, which normally is not the case in the summertime. It's more in the winter, and they don't have enough food, all the time for those who are in need. So what you're doing is definitely a blessing. So thank you.
I just want to point out, looking at the first slide, I mean, that number has gone up over 6%, and even in the last 3 years, and that number is continuing to go up and up and up. So first, I want to commend the cafeteria staff, because they are working really hard to organize these meals and divvy them up and get them out to the community. And I think it's a lot of hard work, but it's great what they're doing. And if there's anything we can do to support that as a board, I already do the porch visits, but I would love to be able to help out more, because our kids need it, and this might be the only food they're getting throughout the summer. So thank you, Jenny.
Dr. Johnson, Human Resources and Business Operations.
Yes, good evening, members of the board. When I reached out to my team about what we're involved in to give you all an update, of course, Jenny had so much going on that we thought it'd be helpful for her to present separately, but the rest of my team, transportation, maintenance, and HR are also extremely busy, and we thought that it would be good for the public and for you all just to kind of see, without getting too deep into the weeds, but what's going on. And you can see in transportation, all summer long there, we've got regular events that go throughout the school year as well, to Charter House, to Minnick, to Blue Ridge Education Center. So we're running vehicles. We've got drivers driving to the regular stations outside of Page County. The short-term events, those are sort of the special events. You've got the Governor's School event for 2 weeks from Valley Scholars over at JMU. And of course, within the county, we've got our various camps and summer schools, Kickstart, remediation, activity bus. We were transporting students to the Page campus early in the summer for athletics. So a lot going on. And then the special events as well. There's a health academy in Winchester. A lot of our clubs are traveling on their field trips, FCCLA and FFA. We've got some trips to and from the airport to drop and pick up. You can see that. Our athletics teams are hitting summer team camps throughout the summer. We're just nearing the end of the sheriff's summer camp. We're involved with transportation there as well. We've got Waipaka traveling as well. So you can see we have a lot going on, and we're using our drivers faithfully. Some of them are putting in lots of hours for them. We would be lost without them. So we are very appreciative of our driving team and their willingness to be available as needed. Some of them doing an awful lot of driving as well. So any questions on transportation?
So was the Sheriff's Summer Camp sponsored as a Page County Public Schools event?
Yeah, it's the same every year. We market it. The SROs are the ones that go out and market it at our schools. And
I didn't
then,
remember seeing our little logo on anything. I didn't know that we could sponsor transportation for something if it wasn't our
yeah.
sponsored event.
It's a partnership, I would say, that we do in terms of they get our kids and work with them in the summer, and then we partner by helping with transportation for it.
Where's it at?
It's at the FFA,
4-H Center.
4-H Center. In,
Port Royal?
yeah. Mhm.
Oh, wow.
But they also come back here for activities.
And our SROs are the ones that are doing it. I saw some pictures just yesterday of, I think, 4 or 5 of our SROs that spent the week there. So it really is, I think the kids see them as both. They see them as police officers, and they see them as the SRO/employee that's at the school every day. So
And I think the logo needs to go on all the stuff. we're providing the transportation.
Make a note of that for next summer for sure. Good
What is
suggestion.
SREB? What is that?
That's the Southern Regional Education Board. That's a school improvement conference. So we send some of our schools in improvement. It's paid through grant money. So they go to that. It's a really good conference. Come back with lots of great ideas and things to work on. So I think we've got Gabby, and look at you, Page Middle and Central Office staff.
So many acronyms, so many.
Yeah. It used to be called, back in the day, it was High Schools at Work. You recall that? They've morphed into SREB now.
A little bit of an update on where we're at with hiring for teaching staff. When I printed this, it was 2 days ago, and we had 11 at that point. We are underway. I think we had maybe 1 or 2 on the agenda tonight. We've had interviews yesterday, today. So we are whittling that down. Probably we're closer to 7 or 8 that we still really need to find qualified candidates. We did a blast last week. We did a social media blast. Along the way, we probably met over 200 candidates at job fairs. And so we do a letter to them saying, wishing you well, but if you or somebody you know hasn't found a job yet, this is what's going on in Page County. That's yielded a couple of good contacts. It's interesting, the universities are working really well with school divisions right now. And I'll give you an example. We had a university the other day that agreed, they have a student that's well into their education career. They pretty much a couple of classes in student teaching was all that they had left for bachelor's. They will graduate in December. Historically, that student had to do their student teaching at the university. We couldn't touch them without that bachelor's degree, but now the universities are allowing these folks to actually work as long-term subs if they stay in the same classroom. And so we can hire them under the new teaching contract, the temporary teaching contract that you all approved earlier in the fall. And so we've got 1 or 2 that the schools of education are working with us, and they'll come and observe them regularly as student teaching. But for us, we get the beginnings of an employee. The instructional team and I have been talking a lot about supports for individuals like that, because obviously now they're teaching when it should have been their student teaching. So we need to be very cognizant of the supports that we put forward. We've got a meeting next week with Mr. Pitts and Ms. Pettit and Gabby and I to take a look at our mentorship program, and we're going to really need to beef it up for some of these folks that are coming in with less experience. But boy, it's a win for staffing. Very excited about that.
So on that note, I guess when they, in that situation where they're, like, should be student teaching, but they're teaching, that first day, right? Controlling that classroom, super critical. So hopefully we're honing our skills on that for sure.
That's exactly what. So we want to extend new teacher orientation, and so the traditional orientation will still be good for the traditional hire. But we're talking about bringing out our instructional coaches, the best of the best mentors that we have, and saying, you all, we need you with these people, and we need you with these people from the very first minute. Yeah, exactly.
So
Well,
y'all- oh, go ahead, Jackie.
Well, just, is it fair to say that some universities, they have practicum programs from the time you enter?
It absolutely is.
And
Yeah.
they're out in the classroom
Correct.
several times a week, if not, a full week at times. So they're actually getting the experience and the direction and so forth.
That's exactly right. I actually see it. My own daughter's an education major, and the number of practicums she had in the first couple of years is mind-blowing to what was 5 or 10 years ago. Yeah. That's right.
So when you have somebody with a bachelor's and you're trying to get on their provisional, I'm learning all this stuff. Is it 6 or 8 classes they need?
It's typically 12 credit hours, and that's your foundations class and your classroom management.
And I was getting at is like, do y'all do something where y'all offer the classes?
Typically, we don't offer them as a division. We send them, and Mr. Bell works most closely with licensure and helping people there, but it's 2 different things. So if they have a bachelor's, one, they have to have the content And that can now be achieved by passing the praxis. It used to be the praxis wasn't enough, and feel free to weigh in, Mr. Bell, but it used to be that wasn't enough. Now, if you pass the praxis, the DOE counts that as your instructional content, which is mind-blowing, because you're talking about hours and hours and hours of content. And so then you still have that 12 credit hours, is it? Yeah,
The human development.
yeah.
Because I was going to say, I know a place that they do that. They have the teachers come in and they take 2 classes every fall.
The
And
other-
we do it ourselves and it counts.
The other thing that's brand new, the community college system has now been approved to teach some of those. So Laurel Ridge is picking up some of those as well. And that's very new. They used to not count.
Yeah, because I didn't know if like the 2 would talk and say, hey, can we send 2?
Yeah. That's absolutely fantastic. Anything that makes it easier for the employer would be good.
Yeah, because I think like right now, each little group that they have and it's after school, like once a week or something, it might be 8 people in the class. So, I mean,
Yeah, we've not had access to that, so I'll look forward to hearing
yeah,
more
we
about
just
that.
started it this year.
The other thing, you all have seen via the communique we sent out last week, but just, we thought it would be nice for the public to see a little bit, so I took a lot of detail out, but our maintenance department as well has a lot going on this summer. We have a lot of major projects that are tied to state construction funds and the grant monies that we've been fortunate to access over the last couple of years. So pretty much all or most of the projects in the left table are funded with those such grant funds. And then on the right, just an example, if I remember correctly, we have about almost 50 work orders come in literally within the first 10, 12 days of summer break. And that's an example right off of those work orders of the type of jobs that the maintenance men are dealing with as well. So we are full steam ahead, I would say, with big projects and as well as your typical summer fixing, repairing, catching up, those kinds of things. So, yeah. That's it. Yep.
Do you have any questions? Thank you for the update. Dr. Fox, superintendent's update?
Yes, good evening, everybody. Want to give you an update tonight, mostly about strategic plan, but the first one, I just want to also echo Jenny's sentiments. I want to thank our food service, our custodians, our transportation staff, our maintenance staff, our grounds crew, and our bus garage, all of those folks, our secretarial, bless you, staff, all finance staff, all of those folks who behind the scenes are doing the work to keep things moving and going. We appreciate all of that work. It doesn't go unnoticed, so we're grateful to all of them for that work. We wanted to highlight one of our community partnerships since we're, 3 meetings in our community forum, which is working to align all of those resources. Here's one to highlight for you. In collaboration with Valley Health, who was our community partner, 214 sports physicals were done in a half a day at the tech center. And it was anybody from the community could come and do that. So a great service to those families to be able to come in and out and very cheap. The cost was very, very minimal for that. And so we just want to say thank you to all involved and thank you to Valley Health for being a partner with us in that. Our kids are now ready, those that need physicals to be ready for fall sports, which, believe it or not, will start very, very soon. If not, open gyms have already started. So, all right. So just wanted to walk you guys through a quick update on our strategic plan because it's been a while since I brought you information on that. But if you recall, when we started this process, we laid out for you sort of how this will work in terms of you evaluate where you are, do some needs assessments. You define things like your mission, your vision, your goals, your priorities, your beliefs, and then you develop a draft plan. So we're at the development of the draft plan, almost complete with that. And then we'll, once you all approve it, we begin to implement it and monitor it and change it. So just a reminder of who served on that committee. You had students from each school, you had parents, you had teachers and staff and administrators from each school. We had representatives from various departments across the school division. We had business and community representatives. And then you had obviously some of us from central office there. And we had Mrs. Gordon and Mrs. Sullivan Smoot were representing you all as a school board on that. We met 5 times in October, November, and December of 2022. and then January and March of 2023. And there've been multiple emails and things that have gone out, different assessments and surveys that we've asked them to do for information. So what we are going to present to you in August for formal approval is what we're going to call Aspire 2028. And that name was chosen by members of the committee and other administrators and staff from a list of different ones. So to aspire means to direct one's hopes and ambitions towards achieving something and to seek to attain or accomplish a particular goal. So we are looking forward to the next 5 years with this plan. It is a 5-year comprehensive plan. It is, in our minds, it's a living, breathing document. It's not just a plan that we're going to say and then we never touch it for 5 years. We're going to be bringing it back to you quite a bit to make amendments and adjustments to it, because there's going to be things that will change over time. And when we get the final draft of this, our schools will then be aligning their school improvement plans to the division strategic plan. Departments will be aligning their goals for next year to this plan. And again, we will update it and amend it and bring it back as needed. And we'll provide you all with regular updates, because you'll see the way it's set up with some of the data and how that's going to be shown to you. You'll need updates on that information. So again, as a part of the committee, the work that they did was to redefine our vision and our mission. So our draft mission statement, as it is right now, is the vision of Page County Public Schools is to support and prepare all students to be healthy, well-rounded individuals and citizens. And it's a little bit shorter than some of the versions that came through. And I want to be clear, we've shortened it because, one, we want to make it easy to remember and to live by. And two, the things that we've taken out are in our belief statement. So everything that was there was expressed is in a belief statement. And then our mission is a little bit longer. And it does include some bullet points that talk about a variety of things, everything from instruction to, being an effective organization in terms of looking at our efficiency and how we run and operate things. So that's our mission. Again, that's longer, and that's okay. We want our vision to be the one that we can call out if we need to. And then we finalized, and we'll do a little bit more tweaking with the belief statements, but these are the belief statements that are guiding our work. So many of the things that we incorporated and wanted in our initial big, long vision statement are now incorporated here in our belief statements. So I'm not going to read all of those to you, but those have actually gone out, and we've asked for feedback from the committee on those as well. For our plan, there are going to be 4 specific goals. First one is student achievement. The second is our exceptional workforce, or our human resources, our people, and they matter. Our organizational effectiveness, looking at how we operate things like our finance department, transportation, food services. And then communication and engagement. And that's a big one because it includes our culture and our climate. We originally at our last meeting had looked at separating those out, but so many of those things align together that it makes sense to put the communication in with the engagement. So that's family, student engagement, staff engagement, and then culture and climate. And the format that we shared this with you when we started this process, but essentially you have those 4 specific goals. And then under each goal, there can be one objective or multiple objectives. You'll see that there's always multiple objectives. And then under each objective, there are going to be essential actions. How do we meet that objective? For each of those actions, you'll see that they're key performance indicators. Those are your data points on how you're measuring whether or not you've met that objective to be able to say you met that goal. We'll give you baseline data, and then there'll be target data that we'll look at. And it'll look a little bit different because some of the things are very easy to garner really true data for. Others are going to be more aspirational because it's just how they line up, but we'll still have a target for each of them. And then for each of the goals, we're going to have a line in there that talks about the budgetary considerations, because some of this will require additional investments, either in resources or materials and supplies or in operations. So this is what it's essentially going to look like. So what we're showing you here is for goal 1, this is just objective 1 for this. So you have your goal at the top. And then it's for student achievement, it's to prepare, challenge, and support students to fully develop the knowledge and skills necessary to be college or career and life ready. And then our commitments are our belief statements that align with that particular goal. So we're keeping everything going back to our vision, our mission, and our beliefs. So the first objective is to provide explicit teaching for students with relevant, engaging, and challenging learning. And you'll see there's more than just these 3 essential actions, but to keep it on one slide, we're just showing you those. So we list those essential actions. What are the data pieces to measure that action? What's our baseline data set? So you'll look, the first one's about the standards of learning. So our data from that's going to be our 2021, 22, 22, 23 SOL data. And then we'll hit those targets. And the reason we have there that will be determined in the fall is we wait for that final accreditation information. We'll have numbers to work with all along, but when we put in our final point that we want to get to by the end of next school year, it'll be based on that final accreditation from the state. There will be an asterisk next to that one because we've talked about this a little bit before. Ms. Ryman shared with you, the state is revising its accreditation process. And that's going to take possibly a year or more for that to happen. So it could be that we set this as the goal now, and in a year or two, we have to come back and rewrite that. And that's fine. But just know there'll be an asterisk there because things are likely going to change with that accreditation process. And then you'll see it. So it'll be set up similar to this. Each of them will look very similar in terms, and then you'll have your 4 goals with all of those objectives and essential actions underneath of them. Any questions about that setup and how that's framed? It's going to be a long document because obviously you can see these things take up some space and they'll be very specific, but it should be pretty user-friendly in terms of how you navigate through it.
But it's going to be a real page counting.
An original, not a copy paste.
It is not a copy paste. You can look at all these people sitting around here, they will assure you that it's not a copy paste. And it's still going to be edited. Like I thought I took out the second provide in that 1.1 and I didn't. We're going to do some fine tuning and editing with some of our English teachers, but this is, it will be I think a document that we're going to reference quite a bit and go back to and measure ourselves with.
So this draft, has it been sent to people?
No, not yet.
It's like July.
So let me go to the next slide. So thank you for that. Good
Sorry.
So next steps, we will formally draft, the formal draft will be publicly pushed out with opportunities for feedback. So that'll happen in July. Final revisions will be made because part of our annual school board meeting or retreat, we're going to focus on this and make the final edits to it. So we have your your input from that. And then at our Leadership Academy on the 1st and 2nd will be sort of our last final brush at it. And then we will bring it to you on August 10th for approval. And then it will be, we'll be now entering the monitoring and the updating process. Okay. So definitely want to thank everyone out there some of the folks here who served on those committees. We met for those times for 3.5 hours, and Patty and her family for a lot of the food. They provided the lunch and the meals for most of our sessions. But just grateful, and the students are great. I think one of the most positive pieces that came out of those meetings was hearing from our kids and having their voice at the table, and the parents and the other teachers and staff members that were there. So we're grateful to everybody for their work, and we'll get that draft out and move forward with that. Any questions that I can answer for you all? You have your plan, Mr. Payne.
Thank you.
Now he just wants metrics.
Yeah. I got your metrics. We got you. Thank you.
Approval of personnel action A.
I make a motion that we approve personnel action A.
Second. Sorry.
We have a motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Painter to approve personnel action A.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
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 Yes. Ms. Sechrist, claims for payment.
Yes, good evening, board members. You have been provided with the claim certification where the operating fund is $484,751.31. The capital improvement fund, $156,614.80. Food service fund, $7,816.01 for total expenditures of $649,182.12. You have the list of claims has been provided for you as well as the check registers. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those.
I'll make a motion that we accept the claims for payment as presented by Ms. Segrist.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Ms. Alger to approve the claims for payment. Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Payne?
Yeah.
Ms. Alger?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Segrist, purchase orders over 10,000.
Yes, Board, we have several purchase orders for your all's approval this evening. However, the top section of this document are POs for pre-approval for FY '24. I will spare you in reading that entire list to you, but they are made up of things like software renewals for Power School, board docs, our insurance on our buildings, automobiles, workers' comp, and things like utilities, our water bills, some of our trash service, things of those natures. The PO at the bottom is a current PO for security camera upgrades to Page County High School that will use capital improvement plan funds to improve those security cameras. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those.
I just want to know what a Spiro Bolt Power Pack is.
Those are actually related to our against as part of our proposal, and they are going to be
So that's something you have to do on those sole source letters for, since it's actually called a Spiro Bolt.
it is.
I was like, what's that? Sounds like a superhero or something.
They're actually
I
really
want
cool to watch in motion. Maybe we'll have to show them next year.
I make a motion, we approve the purchase orders over $10,000.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Alger and a second by Dr. Painter to approve the purchase orders over 10,000.
Dr. Painter? Yes. Ms. Alger?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Silverstein?
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Segrist, resolution of funds.
Yes, I need to read the following resolution into the record. Resolution to the Page County Board of Supervisors for budget amendments to reallocate FY 2023 funds. Whereas the Board of Supervisors approved on July 18th, 2022 with resolution number 2022-07, the categorical funding of the school board for fiscal year 2022-2023. Whereas the Page County School Board will exceed the approved 2022-2023 fiscal year budget in the category of operations and maintenance due to additional expenditures for facility and equipment repairs. Now therefore be it resolved that the Page County School Board does hereby request that the Page County Board of Supervisors reallocate monies with no increase or decrease of local appropriation involved in the amount of $165,000 from instruction to operations and maintenance for the fiscal year of 2022-2023 budget. You can see the budget amendment table there. This is to certify that the foregoing resolution was authorized by the Page County School Board during its regular session on Thursday, June 22nd, 2020.
Make a motion that we accept the resolution or approve as written.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the resolution of funds.
Ms. Alger?
Yes.
Mr. Painter?
Yes.
Dr. Painter?
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smoot?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Renewal of superintendent's contract.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to move that the school board, in recognition and reflection of the dedicated and exemplary service of Dr. Antonia Fox, and in assurance of her ongoing service in the unique key leadership role as division superintendent, at a time when continuity of outstanding leadership is particularly important and valuable to the decision, and with the concurrence of the superintendent, hereby, 1, terminates at 12 o'clock midnight on June 30th, 2023, the prior appointment of the superintendent, deeming her term of office as then having expired, hereby immediately reappoint her to a new 3-year term to commence July 1, 2023, and to end June 30th, 2026. 2, authorizes and directs the chair on behalf of the board to execute a new agreement prepared by legal counsel and reviewed by the board in closed meeting sessions, with the chair to have authority to make minor changes to the agreement as may be necessary, recognizing the outstanding leadership service that the division superintendent has provided and continues to provide to our school division. And 3, thanks and congratulate Dr. Fox for her exemplary service, commitment, and continued service to the division, to our students, staff, and our entire school community in Page County.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter for the renewal of Dr. Fox's.
Ms. Allen.
Yes.
Mr. Taylor.
Yes.
Dr. Ford.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fox, for all that you do.
What's up with our technology? I was trying to play cheering on YouTube.
We
I need a
blocked it for
spirit
you,
bolt
Dr.
or
Painter.
something.
Board member discussion.
Thank you, Blake.
We want some sound effects next time.
I was trying to do it on my own.
Well, I would just like to say, after our last community meeting at Luray High School last week, I'm just very excited as to where we're headed with getting the community involved in so many different ways. And Ms. Jeffries, the one piece of information that you shared at that meeting, it blew me away in that meeting that less than 50% of our 3,000 and some students, K through 12 in Page County, live with one or both parents. Less than half, which means over 50% students live with someone other than a parent. That just blew me away. And I'm glad to know that. And I hope people are paying attention and listening, because that means there's a lot of things going on that none of us have ever experienced or even have a clue as to what it's like. And we're, as a community, through this organization, we're reaching out. I couldn't be more prouder. And I know it's not going to solve everything, but it's a start of doing something. And I'm just very pleased with what's going there. Going back to our students being involved on the strategic plan, and going into our second year, starting in September with 2 new school board members, and the 3 that we had last year, they were terrific with what, insight they brought, and they're there every day. They know better than a lot of us, and it's good that they have an opportunity to speak. And I'm hoping that as time goes, we get more information down to the middle school level, so they know more about what they can get involved with when they hit high school. So with all this going on, I just can't say enough to say, I don't know, I can't speak for other divisions because I don't know anything about other divisions a whole lot, but this is the first in Page County, and I couldn't do that. So thanks to everybody that has had a part in that, continue, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Well, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Painter on her new role, HR at Rockingham County. Also, Bailey Gaskins and Jocelyn Rinker made All-State in softball. That was great. Mr. Bell and Mr. Johnson think that's a nice job of refilling our teacher. Good work. We were down the last couple. That's great. Ms. Jeffries, want to see you when I say this. You haven't always had an easy road sometimes. And some of your lunches have made national news or news around here. And now you have a video promoting what you've done. And when I was thinking about it, redemption is a beautiful thing. And you've redeemed things. You've done a great job. It's really good stuff. I appreciate that. For the community, we wanted to give Dr. Fox a contract last year. She's been the hall monitor for the school system a lot of times, and it's never been really good. And we thought, yeah, let's get her, but we couldn't do it. But this year we could. And one of the things that I appreciate about her and the reason it was done is that you've empowered all levels. When you first came, levels were not talking to one another. There was a lot of things said that was not good. You've brought those together, and you have now an organization that is at least talking from the top to the bottom, which is good. It's not going to always be perfect, and not everybody's going to like you. And don't ever let people pleasing get in the way of doing a good job this next 3 years. You've done a great job bringing the community together. I think Jackie did a great job of referencing that. You always want a cavalry to come around. Well, you are the cavalry. Our community is the cavalry, and that's the only thing that's going to help us do this thing. You're a hard worker. She's a hard worker. I'm always joking with her and her husband that she needs to take more time off, right? Without the computer.
She's blushing.
Yeah. 'Cause I know how that is. I hear this story myself sometimes. Now that you stabilized a lot of things, instruction. That's our next hurdle to overcome. And I know you're going to get it done. I think you got a good team with you. And I know the board, I appreciate everybody on the board here. They're great. They try hard to help. I appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to again just emphasize how amazing it is what Miss Jeffries and her team are doing. I mean, it really is just helping so many kids. And, for those that are listening or go back and watch this video, I know that the locations and times are posted. So please find those. And if that, you still need more, there are programs out there to help. There are many programs out there to help. So please just reach out, either to one of us or the division and find out what we can do to make sure everybody's fed well. And along with that, the summer is long, and I know that parents are home with their kids and kids are home with their parents, and there's a lot going on in our community that people can get involved in and find something fun to do for the summer. So check Page Valley News, check Page News and Courier. There's tons of community events listed. Again, reach out. And I really do believe that Page County is really taking a turn, and there's a lot of momentum and movement of people coming together to create opportunities here. So I think a lot of times we're thought of as like the forgotten county, and we're, isolated by our mountains, which really is a blessing. So yeah, I just want people to know that there's things out there. You don't have to sit at home, and just you can get involved. So.
Yes, Dr. Fox, thank you, and your team, and everybody, Jenny, and your staff. Summer feeding has been amazing, and for everything you do for us with PACA, with porch visits, your staff goes above and beyond to make sure that the kids are fed, and that comes from you. Thank you. Dr. Fox, we were excited to be able to offer this contract extension, excited that you were willing to accept this contract extension.
You're here.
Because change takes time, it takes some consistency, and we're moving in the right direction. It's going to take time. Mr. Painter doesn't like to give us a lot of time all the time, but it's definitely going to take time, but we're headed in the right direction. We appreciate your leadership and everything you're doing for our school system and our community.
I don't do it alone. I'm sure you know that.
Shockingly, I don't have anything to say because anybody knows me knows I don't wait till the summative is filled the beans. So
No, you did not. Thank you all very much.
I make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Dr. Painter and a second by Mr. Painter. Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Dr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Al.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.